All right, so let's go on to the next one. How about ask for what you want?
Man, this is one that I really had to work on to figure out that this is actually a really great thing. I used to hold the limiting belief that asking for what I wanted or thinking about myself in terms of my needs was a really selfish thing to do. And by doing that, I walked around not asking for what I wanted or not taking care of my needs. I was pretty unhappy inside, and therefore I was pretty grouchy to the people that I love the most in my life, because deep down inside I felt like I was getting the shaft because I just wouldn't step up to the plate and ask for what I wanted. And I finally came to the realization for myself that when I just was really honest with what I needed and put those needs first and say, well, I need to have this, all of a sudden I started feeling better, and I started giving more to other people. I was happier. I was way more service. I kind of had it backwards. I thought if I asked for what I wanted, I would be selfish. What I found is when I started doing and taking care of myself in the way that I needed to, I was able to give more to others. Right.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I'm looking at a quote here from the book that I wrote down that I thought was so powerful. First, it talks about how truthfully asking for what you want demonstrates a healthy level of self-esteem and self-love that can really transform your life, just like you're saying. But to go on a little bit from there, it also says that you serve others better when you allow them to serve you. So when you do ask for what you want, you allow others to step up to the plate, because we all love to do. You know, I notice that with a lot of clients and a lot of people I work with, that people love to give and they love to give, but a lot of people aren't so good at receiving. Well, think about all those people out there that are just like us, that really want to give, and we don't give them that opportunity to do that, then we're really cheating them. So I think that's a great thing. You serve others when you allow them to serve you. So it works both ways. I thought that was a really great quote.
You know, Mitch, I read this book about 2 years ago, and I actually took notes on each of the sections, and I've been looking back over my notes, and the way that I interpreted that was that people often feel wanted and needed when asked to serve. So just like you were saying, it brings that, like, oh, I'm needed, I'm important, there's something for me to do. So it is a giving to other folks.
Yeah, excellent. Great. Yeah. And it shows up. Asking for what you want can show up in so many different ways, from prayer, meditation, visualization, even positive affirmations that you give yourself. It's all aspects of asking for what you want. And it's important. Notice how you feel when you start asking for what you want. Notice if you start getting insecure. Notice some people ask for what they want expecting people to say no. I know I've been there in my life. Well, I'll ask, but I'm sure they're going to say no. It's just too inconvenient. So, notice how you feel, and notice that your first response when you even begin to think about asking for what you want.
And let it be easy, just like the book says. I mean, start with little things. If this is out of your comfort zone, where do you want to go for lunch today? I don't know. I mean, how many times do we do this? And inside, you're thinking, I really want Mexican. I really want Mexican. Or
I want
Chinese
pizza.
would be fantastic.
Right.
Instead of just coming out and saying, Bernie and I used to just really go round and round, because he'd ask me, what do you want to eat? And I'd say, I don't know, I don't really care. And he'd be like, okay, how about Italian? No. Well, how about this? No. And then he'd finally ask me like 4 or 5 times, and then I'd finally just say, I think Chinese sounds good. You know what? I could have solved a lot of problems by just saying, where do you want to go to eat? Chinese sounds great to me, and then start from there.
So ask for what you want, and you get what you want. It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
It is. It's really cool. And you feel good about yourself for stepping up to the plate and taking care of yourself.
And every time we step up to the plate and feel good about ourselves, everything just seems a little bit easier, doesn't it?
It sure does. Yes, it does, Mitchell.
So let's go on to keeping your agreements. Boy, that's such a big one for me. I know for me it's all about, I interpret that as integrity. And integrity to me is the most important thing on the planet. So,
well, you're one of the most integrous people that I know. So I can
see
why that's important to you. You actually live it out in your life. I love that when you say that you're going to do something, I know Mitch is going to get it done. If you say you're going to meet me at a certain time, you'll be there at a certain time. If not, there's going to be a phone call, that's for sure. So I really do appreciate it about that. About you, and that really comes through. It shines.
And it's funny because, I never could understand when somebody's going to be late. There is an agreement, and it's a level of respect. When you tell somebody you're going to be someplace, this is all about me. I'm just making this up from my point of view. But when I tell somebody I'm going to be someplace, or somebody tells me they're going to meet me, and they don't, I start losing respect. And when I start losing respect for people, I start losing trust. And that creates a pretty shaky kind of the foundation of the relationship gets a little bit wishy-washy. And so, yeah, I really like when people step up to the plate. I have this 15-minute rule where I just lose it after 15 minutes. If I'm waiting for somebody in a restaurant or I'm waiting for somebody and 15 minutes I didn't get that phone call and they haven't shown up, I am so out of there. I don't care if I pass them in the parking lot waving them goodbye. I mean, I know that people kind of flip out because there are people who are consistently late. I don't get it. It's so out of integrity.
So one of the notes that I have about this are those people who keep their agreements are often considered trustworthy, which is just what you were talking about. And to come across or be considered as trustworthy is so valuable. You never know out in the world the people that you're interacting with who might be your next lead into something wonderful in your life, who might introduce you to somebody who could become a companion or have a wonderful relationship, who might be the lead into another job or another creative outlet. And when you really keep your agreements with people, even if it's like, well, I'll email you the name of that restaurant, and then you actually follow through, whether it be 2 days or a week later, and email the name of their restaurant, they think, wow, they really walked their talk. They really said what they were going to do and then did it.
Yeah, and that's a big one. I know that's my New Year's resolution is walk the talk, and boy, you and I have both had experiences in the last few months where we know a few people who haven't been walking the talk, and it's really stepping out of integrity. And it's amazing how many people that affects, not just them. And I can see their self-esteem sort of crumbling. I mean, I could really see in this instance where it's really about them and not us, or really I should make, again, an I statement. I can see where it's about them and not me. And I could watch their self-esteem crumbling. And that's one reason why it's important to me. I see that happening out in the world. It's important for me to stay in integrity. I love being respected. I think it's a perfect plan. I mean, I love when people say things like what you said. That means so much to me, so thank you.
You're welcome.
And
well, in the vein of let it be easy, one of the reasons that this is so important in letting your life be easy is that when you keep your agreements, as soon as you do what you said you were going to do, the energy around that leaves. I'm going to make this an I statement. Whenever I say, okay, I'm going to email you and send you the name of that restaurant, for example, and I haven't done it yet, and it's not that I have forgotten, like it just completely slipped my mind, but it's back there. It's like this little nagging thing. You said you're going to do that. You said you're going to do that. You said you're going to do that. As soon as I do it, that leaves. It's one less thing to be weighing down, to be draining my energy, to have one of my energy resources on keeping that memory going. And so when I just do what I say I'm going to do, then life becomes easy and I don't have to mull that over or worry about it. Or like I talked about for the little white lie, when I do that, all that worry's there. Just say what you're going to do what you say. Did that make sense? I'm not sure.
Say what you do and do what you say. Isn't that Horton the elephant? I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant faithful 100%. If Horton can do it, we can do it.
That's right. And you've been coloring in your Horton coloring book that I gave you.
I got a Horton coloring book from Brandy for Christmas, and I love it.
So, great. Okay, listen to Horton. Do what you say what you do.
Say what you do, and mean what you say, and say what you mean. All right, so the next one is take responsibility for your experiences. I think that's really big. Yeah, what do you got down there in your little essay about that?
Well, it's a really basic precept of anytime we're working with our clients, and something we say in our house all the time, especially to our children. No one can make you feel anything. And one of the examples that I use is that somebody might tell a joke and one person could think it was hilarious and one of the best jokes they ever heard, and another person may think it's offensive. So we make up our feelings based on our past experiences, our beliefs, our projections onto other people. So one person may say something in front of Mitch and Mitch can feel completely angry, and I might think it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And so that person who said whatever they said didn't make me feel happy and didn't
But they made me feel angry.
But, keeping that, even the language, he made me sad, is in essence giving up control.
I know, it's so disempowering to say that, he made me feel angry, he made me feel sad, she made me, mad. It's so disempowering.